Hey, what's up, Derek? I'm holding the scrap heap sabers because it's just what I've got in my hand, but this is a separate demo for the 14 sabers that I've got for you. We're going to go over each one of them quickly over my desk. I'll package those up with these today, all in the same package, and get everything out in the mail to you today. Thanks. All right, Derek, we have quite a few sabers to go over. I don't even know how many. I didn't count them. So we're going to start with these three, and then we'll just work our way down the list. I have them stacked over in a neat pile to the right of me. So we'll just put these two off to the side and quickly go one by one, and I'll show you how everything works. All right, this of course being the Ventress hilt. You would ask for a crystal chamber in here, so we have a real quartz crystal in there. It's a 2-button setup. Your plungers are located here. Just come over here and take this out. Unscrew your pommel there. You can come over here from the emitter side, kind of stick your finger in there and just push it straight out. It'll help you grab it and put it like that. All right, this is the chassis that I came up with for it, rather. This particular chassis takes an 18500 battery. So I've got an 18500 protected cell battery right here, and that's what we're gonna use. All right, come over here and just slide it in. Pop it in like that. You've got a kill switch right here in front of the board. 28mm Smuggler's Outpost. This is the Elite version. Your two tactile switches here. Proffies V2. This is the one that came with the Saber. So you've got your old sound fonts on here. Come over here and flip the switch. And you've got your crystal chamber going there. All right, so there is a groove right here in the chassis that you need to line up with the switch box, because those plungers stick into the ID of the handle, or of the Saber rather. If you don't get it right on the alignment, it won't even go in that far. So if you made it this far, you know you've got it right. All right, just push it all the way in there. Come over here, screw the pommel on all the way to lock the chassis down, and we can hit power. Power right here. Now you got your LEDs firing up there. You got your crystal chamber in the vent area. That's how you work that guy. So let's unscrew the pommel here. Remember, just give it a gentle push from the emitter side. It'll pop your chassis right out. Come over here and turn this off. I am going to keep the 18500 battery in there for you and just send it with that, because I realize that's a little bit of a unique battery. Not everybody probably has one of those on hand. All right, so we'll just put the chassis back into the Saber, screw our pommel down. That's the Ventress hilt. So let's put that off to the side here. Let's go over this one. Apologies, I do not know where this is from. Just as a custom Saber. All right. It's a 1-button setup. So this one tactile switch is right here. We're going to take the handle off. This is a very, very tight build. The handle is very deceiving from the outside. It looks like you have a lot more room than you do on the outside, but you do not. The chassis has to stop about right there. All right, so in order to access the board, it's very easy to do. We just come over here, take that grub screw all the way out. This chassis will slide out. It's a completely removable chassis. This is just a plunger switch. Okay, so you take that out, slide your chassis out. You can access your board, SD card, micro USB. After you're all done, you'll see a hole in the chassis right here where that set screw goes. You just slide it back into place, lock it back down. Very easy to do. All right, you got a KR Sabers lit PCB in there. This takes an 18650. This is running a 22mm Smuggler's Outpost Nano Elite speaker. All right, so put that handle on there, hit power. All your LEDs lit up. All right, you're done, just take the handle off here and we'll pop the battery out from the positive side over here by your board. Pop right out for you just like that. All right. I'm gonna put the handle back on here. That is that saber. Pretty easy setup, or at least I hope that you find that easy to operate. I know you're no stranger to sabers, so that shouldn't be much of a problem for you. Let me gently put that off to the side. Let's go over this one. I believe this one is a Vader's Vault Acolyte, and I redid this one for you. So this is a 2-button setup. Power up here. Auxiliary is a little dome tactile switch. All right, coming over here. Want to unscrew the handle to get to your chassis. This is a little bit of a different PLA that I was playing around with. I had previously done a chassis for a customer that had requested this particular type of PLA. This is like a metal type of PLA from Bamboo Labs. So I wanted to try it out with this also because I felt like it kind of matched the copper shroud that you had going on here. All right, so you got a kill switch right there. Board, or your battery tray rather, so we can put our 18650 in there. Remember, always spring side negative. If you look right here, you've got easy access to your SD card and your micro USB because the board is at an angle. All right, so we'll come over here and flip the switch, turn that on, put our handle on. Also running a 22mm Smuggler's Outpost Nano Elite speaker. All right, power. KR Sabers, lit PCB, auxiliary right here. All right, and then when we're done, again, taking the handle off, let's turn this on real quick. Flip it off with the kill switch, and we pop our battery out. So that should be a pretty straightforward build for you. Hope that you find that easy to use as well. All right, I'm gonna put this over here in le pile. Let's go over these two guys I had setting off to the side. So this is the Laser Duel set. This is from, got the box right here, Shadow Foil Props and Phoenix Props. So each of these are set up very similar, but a little bit different. It's a similar setup in the fact that they're both removable chassis, but this one has a bigger ID than this one. So we'll just put this one off to the side and go over this one. They're both 1-button setups, so you'll find the plungers right here. All right, they both have KR Sabers lit PCBs, and we just take the pommel off here. Go like that, pull your chassis out. Let's put this off to the side. This is your removable chassis. All right, so there's your switch right there, your blade connector, kill switch right in front of the board, access to your SD card and your micro USB, fully enclosed Smuggler's Outpost dark side, 28mm, your battery tray. All right, 18650 goes in there, flip it on. Now, when you put this on, you will want to be mindful. As you can see, I've got a channel that leads to the switch. So we want to make sure that's lined up with this plunger. All right, so just come in here straight. If you go slow, you'll actually feel it lock into place. Okay, that channel is the exact width of the plunger, so you shouldn't have any problems there. Lock our pommel down, hit power. Blade lockup, of course, is a double tap and holding it on the second tap. And we've got twist off. All right, so let's turn this on real quick. Let's take the chassis out. So you can see that it's on, and we'll flip it off with the kill switch. Very easy to do, all right? Take the battery out with your finger there, and again, like I said, just go slow. That channel will line right up with that plunger. If you don't have it lined up and it's crooked like this, it's going to stop about right there, right where the kill switch is at. All right, you just gently turn it and it'll slide right into place, and you know that it's locked down. All right, so let's go ahead and put the pommel on here. I'm going to put the blade plug in, put it in its case, and then we'll go over the other one. This is the one that has a slightly bigger ID, but same kind of setup, one button setup. All right, still a removable chassis. So we'll take the plunger off this guy too. Not the plunger, I'm sorry, take the pommel off. I think I said take the plunger off. Push the chassis out through the emitter a little bit. And this is your removable chassis for that guy. Battery compartment. All right, blade connector. Channel for your switch. Easy access to your SD and your micro USB with a kill switch and a fully enclosed 28mm dark side. All right, so flip the switch. Come over here. We want to make sure that channel's lined up too. So again, if you don't have it lined up, it's going to stop about right there where that rib's at on the chassis. Just kind of turn it and it will go right into place. All right, coming over here. Put that on and hit power. Blade lock up. And twist off. Let's turn it on again. Push it out gently through the emitter. Now you can see that it's on, and we flip it off. All right, and we take our battery out too. And that is how you work that other guy. So we'll put that back in. Gently make sure that switch is lined up. Push this in. You can push the sides of the chassis. Don't push on the speaker. It should line directly up with the end of this saber. And then coming over here, putting the pommel on. So that's how you work the second of two laser swords. All right, so let me put this back in the box. Let me bring over this Raxus real quick. So you had ordered a Raxus Star Killer from Goth 3 Designs. I believe that I actually weathered and installed these for him. This is part of the set that I had done for him with his master chassis. I designed the Saber as well for Sean originally. This was a very fun project. But you had bought this from Rick, sent it over to me, and asked me to replace the printed crystal with a real one. So I did put a real quartz crystal in there for you. All right, so just to show you real quick. Rick actually sent this with the battery. I left it in there. But you've got your very cool master chassis here. You slide this piece off to access the board. All right, and then when you don't need to access the board, you just slide this back on. It stays on with 4 magnets. Very cool stuff. All right, so let's put this back on and I'll show you. You can access the kill switch with the handle on. This was a beast of a project. I think at the time when I did this for him, I did like 10 or 15 of them at the same time. So coming over here, you can actually slide this window off, and that is your kill switch. All right, so just flip that off to the side. So your crystal has nice shine through. You've got a secondary crystal chamber here. Power, auxiliary, right? And when we're done, we can flip the kill switch back over. Panel goes on with magnets. You're free to slide that down as well. I tend to take this off completely because this was weathered down here. And if you keep sliding it over time, you might make this part of the handle shiny while the rest is weathered. So rather than do that, you know, just kind of take it off. Or you could slide it up that way too. Access your kill switch and then slide it back down. That's perfectly fine. But I wanted to show you that that was what I did to your Raxus there. All right, so let's put that off to the side and put it in a box. And we'll keep going. This one in particular, I'm not going to send you yet. You and I had talked about it, but I want to talk about it on video. Okay, this is the Youngling from Java's Junkyard. I'm going to meet up with Leon later on this month. I'm hoping that he has the emitter piece. This particular Saber box did not have that in it, and I need to make sure that it's going to fit with my chassis, because since I didn't have it, I didn't know how long it was going to be. I designed this chassis and I went ahead and I installed it anyway. Let me get your switch for you real quick, because that is a separate piece. Get your switch right here. I went ahead and I designed it anyway with the thought process that if there's something a little bit off with the emitter, I'll just go ahead and I'll machine it in-house. We don't have to worry about it, all right? Because I have the capabilities to do that, so I didn't want you to have to wait. I've got the button head screw in the box, but you'll want to take that out and then grab the pommel right here and slide this out. You had asked for the chassis to be printed in a wood PLA, and that's exactly what we've got here. All right, so wood PLA, Proffies V3, your typical access to everything right here. We've got a kill switch here on the side, 18650 battery. Now this switch has a magnet glued to it because this is a drop plunger switch. That's part of the design from Java's Junkyard. All right, so I'll show you how to drop that in here in a second. But your blade connector, we're gonna flip the kill switch. Good to go there. We're gonna wanna be mindful. This chassis does come out of this if you want it to. I made it a tight press fit because it makes it easy to line up the chassis. If you have the pommel right, you know, where it goes into the Saber and this hole lines up where the button head screw goes in, you'll have the switch right. And there's a 28 millimeter Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker in there. So I just leave this all as one unit when I take it out. All right, coming over here, sliding this in. I know that if this hole's lined up for the button head screw, then my switch is lined up. I don't know if you can see that on camera very well. If I take this switch and drop it in, it lines right up with that magnet and I can hit power. And we've got twist off there. All right, so we're gonna take the plunger out, pull this back out, turn it on, and flip it off with the kill switch. All right, and then we'll take our battery out like that. That is the Youngling that I'm actually gonna be hanging on to until I get that emitter from Leon, because I don't want to send you something before it's all put together. All right, so let me put this in the box. Let me put the plunger in the box. It's a little bit of a separate deal. Let's see what we've got next. What we've got next are the Crimson Menace steel versions from my dude Sean over at what used to be SP Sabers. These are made out of stainless steel, very heavy sabers, meant to be a staff. So as you can see, one of them I have the pommel on, the other one does not, but you would want to screw these together just like that. And you will want to do that because that's how you hold the chassis in, but for the sake of this demo and the fact that I don't have all that space to work with, we're just going to go over one at a time. All right, so coming over here, what you want to do is just give it a slight, you can grab it like this if you can't reach it from the emitter, cup your hand, go like that, and pull your chassis out. They're both identical chassis. All right, coming over here, I used stock switches because they each have 2 LEDs on the PCB board so that I can light up your 2 switches. I'll show you here in a second. All right, but access to your everything on the board, kill switch, battery tray. We'll flip the kill switch on. Now just more. That's how we do it right there. And we've got your blade connector. All right, so coming over here for the actual Saber, these 2 plungers stick into the ID of the handle a little bit. You might be able to see that there. Maybe not, it's a little bit dark. All right, but they're only gonna, this chassis is only gonna fit in one way. That's why we've got this channel here. So we kind of line up the channel with the switches And if you do that, it goes right in, just like that. All right, and once you have both of these put together and you're using the same pommel piece, we'll just go ahead and take this off and use it one at a time. All right, that's what locks the chassis in place. Now, good to go. Power up here. Auxiliary back here. Turning it off just like that. Now, I did go through and I modified this chassis, or this hilt, just a little bit. Let's take this out. Each one of these had all thread in it that was sticking into the idea of the handle. I don't know if you can tell from here, but each one of these is offset from the other. So they do not follow a straight line. Like this one's more towards me than this one is. This one's more towards me than this one. So these two red ones are lined up with each other, and these two silver ones are lined up with each other, but they're not in line, if that makes sense. I went through and I shaved those down, and I screwed these back in, but I shaved down everything that was inside of the idea of the handle. All right, so we can see that the saber's on, but we'll go ahead and turn it on anyway. Flip it off with the kill switch. Take our battery out. All right, so we'll slide that in, lining it up with the actual plungers. That's the one we went over. We'll bring in the one that we didn't go over. Same thing. All right, slide that chassis out. You'll find that you have an identical chassis here. So lit switches, blade connector, board, battery tray, kill switch.
Formerly Darth, now just more.
These are running your Kyberphonic crimson leader. All right, line those up with the switches there. We'll hit power. Auxiliary. All right, and we'll take the chassis back out. Exact same thing. All right, so we'll hit power. And flip it off with the kill switch. That is how you operate these stainless steel guys. This is a very, very nice Darth Maul staff from my buddy Sean over there. All right, so I'm gonna put the pommel on this one. Just know that these are meant to be a staff, so you're gonna have to lock both of these in. All right, I'm kind of putting these together off frame here. Give me just a second. I'm just putting them in their respective boxes. Next up, we have the Pariah V4 from Watto's Junkyard. All right, both identical sabers, set up identically. They're both one button setups, and it will be this red guy here. You don't press down on it, you push back on it. And that tactile feel is something that's going to be easy for you to feel when you have it in hand. All right, these do come with a coupler, so you can put them together as a staff. For the purpose of the demo, though, we're going to go over them one by one. All right, so to get to your board, you want to come over here and unscrew this greebly here. All right, you're going to want to unscrew that one, flip it over, unscrew this one. All right, when you do that, this piece will come right off. All right, you need that pommel off because you have to come over here and you need to pop this off. Careful with that. All right, because sometimes, so what I prefer to do is just open it. Let me show you what I prefer to do. If we had this back on, snapped in place. All right, what I prefer to do is to use my tweezers. I'll open this up just a hair, take a pair of tweezers or something flat, come in here and just pop it up like that. That's a lot easier to do it that way. All right, that will expose your chassis. This is not my chassis design. This is from Rasmus Saber Supplies on Etsy that you had pointed out for me, so thank you for that. Admittedly, I was having some difficulty trying to design a curved chassis that fit into this properly. I went through a few different iterations that weren't quite what I was liking. Then you showed me this, and I really like this design. So whoever owns that shop over there, they did a really nice job. All right, so you've got easy access to your board. You've got a kill switch here right in front of the board, but doesn't get in the way of the SD card. This is your battery compartment. It does have an open area for wiring, so I tried my best just to make it neat. All right, 18650. Flip the switch. And then after you flip the switch, you would put this together. I'm not going to put it together. I'm just going to show you that it fires up. That way we don't put it together, fire it up, take it back apart. All right. Put the panel back on, put the pommel back on, come over here and slide this back. You have 22 millimeter Smuggler's Outpost Nano Elite speakers in here that you can see from right here. All right. Blaster bolt. Auxiliary, of course, is a double tap, but holding it on the second tap. All right, flip it off with the kill switch. And we take our battery out here with our fingers. This chassis design came in two pieces that split right here. It did have magnets to hold it together. I found that those magnets weren't quite strong enough to hold this together with a battery, so I just glued it together, but no big deal. This is an amazing chassis. It was very well designed and thought out. All right, to put this panel back in, you'll notice you have a little bit of a lip here, if you can see that sticking out, and it goes into that slot right there. All right, so we'll put that in the slot first, then bring the rest of it down. It'll clip in place just like that. We'll take our pommel, put it on. That will have the holes lined up. You can come over here and screw these greeblies in. You have a set of larger greeblies just like this that are in your box for installing the coupler to make this a staff. All right, but for now we're just going to use these. So that's the one that we just went over. Now we'll go over this one and take this one out of frame. All right. Same deal. Unscrew these. Unscrew this. Slide this off. You can pop this one right out. Okay. Same chassis, board, kill switch, battery compartment. Flip. One button. Blaster bolts. Blade lock up. Speakers. Right? They have twist off as well. All right. Flip that off with the kill switch there. Take that out. Line up our lip there with the hole. Snap that down in place. And we'll put our pommel back on. Went a little bit faster on that one since we kind of went into detail on the first one. All right, so we'll screw that in. You don't have to do it super tough. If you try to lock those down super duper tough, you might have a hard time getting them out. Those are two separate pieces. So this piece and the grub screw are two separate pieces. I glued them together so that you would not have a hard time with one coming off and the other wouldn't. All right, so I just try to make that one piece and make it convenient for you. So that's how you work your Pariah V4s. Let me grab what's next. Next we have this big boy. This is the, what is this? This is from Corbanth, and it is called Kanan, the Katarn Outcast. All right, when this came to you from Corbanth, it had some issues with it. You sent it to me. Rather than try to fix those issues, it did a total gut and redo. All right, so it's a 2-button setup, power here, auxiliary back here. If you're not careful with this handle, it will come off in a few pieces. This coupler is a separate piece to this back handle to this front. I like to take the coupler and the back handle off at the same time. All right. Just give it a little twist here. Slide that off. Please be careful. This is a very, very thin chassis, a 0.99 inch diameter chassis, because there's not a whole lot of room in the handle. But if you look here, hopefully you can see that. Easy access to your board, so everything there. Kill switch right here in front of the board. Your battery tray. So when you put in the 18650 battery in there, cradle the chassis. You should be doing this with every Saber anyway. Just kind of cradle the chassis and push it in. Very easy to do. 22 millimeter Nano Elite speaker.
I gotta say, I admire how you've kept your balance. You've got a good, strong spirit.
Slide this on. Now, it starts getting a little bit tight right here, but as you can see, this isn't lined up, right? That's why you gotta, at the very end when it's like this, if you give it a little bit of oomph, you can line that handle up and hit power. Well, there's your blade connector all lit up. The blade connector is actually from Shadowfoil Props. Auxiliary back here. Hold it down to turn it off, on, or you could simply do a twist off, which is kind of what I prefer. All right. So again, when you want to take the handle off, because we had to tighten it so much to line it up, you want to grab the bottom and the middle coupler in the same grip, Untwist everything together, and once you get it started, it'll come off in one piece. Very easy. I chose not to glue those two together. I didn't see a need for it. If you don't have to glue something, it's best not to, just in case there's some maintenance that needs to be done down the road. All right, you can turn it on, we'll flip it off with the kill switch there. Very easy to do. And we'll pop our battery out, put the handle back on. Line that guy up just like that. And that is how you work your Katarn Outcast. Let's grab the last one of the Saber bunch. This one being, again, from my buddy Sean over at SP Sabers. All right, this is the Lost Wolf, a very cool Saber, though it is very unique in how it's set up. I'm not a huge fan of the switch. Sean's a good friend of mine. I'm just being honest, right? Like this is a drop-in switch. So I could pull this out. It's designed to be on a magnet. If you can see the magnet in there, it might be hard to see. You can kind of see it right there, and you can see the two tactile switches right there. That's what makes it a little bit difficult, because you have to pay attention on how you put this in. This little nub here is what activates those two tactile switches. It'll flip over on one side and activate one, and flip over and activate the other. So you need to be mindful of where this is when you put it in, and go right between the two tactiles. And if you don't do that right, you could cause some damage. Maybe just give yourself a little sanity check. You can feel the tactile there, so everything's good to go. All right. Coming over here, you want to unscrew the pommel to get to your chassis. All right. This is a removable chassis setup. The pommel comes off with the chassis, that's fine. Just take it off and put it there. A removable chassis setup. This is a design that I came up with for this Saber about 1.5 to 2 years ago when it first came out. Still works fine. Access to everything here. Kill switch in front of the board. That's kind of my deal. I try to do this every time. If you didn't notice, with every Saber that I do, you'll have good board access. You'll typically have a kill switch right here in front of the board, unless I find a need to put it somewhere else. All right. Fully enclosed SO dark side. Our battery tray. Flipping it on here. Flipping it on here. This particular sound font that it's on doesn't have a boot up, but if you look here, you can see, if you look here, you can see the green indicator light on your Proffies board. All right, so you know that this has power. You can put this in any way you like. Just slide it right in. Come over here and screw the pommel down. You will need the pommel on to activate the Saber, because it's what pushes the chassis forward into those pins and lines everything up. All right. You got some shine through in your blade plug right there. This is a KR Sabers lit PCB also. So pushing down on this guy is power. Pushing up is auxiliary. one thing you'll need to be mindful of, it's not a spring-loaded switch at all. So you're gonna have to use your thumb, press down for power, and then use your thumb to get off that switch. Don't just press down and move away. You'll stay on the switch. You'll mess up the Saber because it will start wanting to do presets and all this other kind of stuff. So use your thumb to hit the switch and back off. And for the auxiliary,
Smooth fuzz.
right? Off. Just like that, all right? Basically putting your thumb on the tip of this arrow and going like that is probably the easiest thing to do, all right? Slide our chassis out here, flip this off, and take our battery out. And that, sir, is how you work your Lost Wolf from SP Sabers, along with the rest of the Sabers that I showed you today. Let me know if you have any questions. That pretty much concludes the batch of Sabers that I need to send you thus far. And I'll package all this up and get it out in the mail to you today. Thanks, man.